The title reads, "Is it wrong to wait for marriage, even if I'm not a virgin?" Question mark. So a while back, I was left by my partner of 3 years. A year or so into our relationship, we did end up having sex, which is an action I deeply regret now that she is no longer with me. Oh, so this is from a guy's point of view. I thought I'd be reading this from a girl's point of view, so that's interesting. Although I feel guilty, I'll no longer be able to give my future wife my virginity. I understand that this is a loss I have to accept and that I need to carry on regardless. This guy's viewing it from a really weird standpoint because I don't know how old this guy is, but let's say he's like 19 years old and he's dating other 19-year-old women. Those 19-year-old women probably aren't virgins. Maybe a lowball estimate might be two or three guys they might have slept with. So to think he's going to be dating women who are virgins themselves, that's just not going to happen, or it's just highly unlikely. Maybe he's super religious and he only dates in a religious community. But I've heard online, people who go to church, they have sex just as much as a normal person, or maybe even more. But I don't know too many religious people personally. But let's carry on. A trouble I've run into since then, however, are people being frustrated, both those who I've dated and those around me, that I'll not have sex with them until marriage. Wow, this guy's an absolute baller. Like, he's got women dangling off of him, wanting to have sex with him. He must be an absolute Chad. He's not talking like a Chad, though. He seems a bit simpy and clueless. Like, even going back to that first paragraph, so he's with someone for 3 years and she ended up dumping him. So he must have been doing something unattractive during those years, and I'm guessing it was quite a surprise to him that he got dumped. Because if you're in a 3 year relationship, this woman should be head over heels in love with you and possibly thinking about marriage and stuff. So whatever this guy has done to turn her off to make her want to leave him, that's actually quite interesting. He continues to say, honestly, I understand why they think that what I'm doing is wrong. I can definitely see how bad someone may feel knowing that I gave something very special to someone in the past yet refused to give it to them. That's a very good point because if I read this from a girl's point of view, that would be my mindset if I was dating that girl. So let's set the scene here. You're dating a woman and she's not a virgin and she's given her body to previous men in the past. You turn up, you have some really good dates with her, you have a good connection, and she says, yeah, I really like you, but I'm not going to have sex with you until you put a ring on it. You're like, wait, that's unfair. I got to put a ring on it, I got to commit to you to secure the box, so to speak, to have sex with you, even though you gave it up to these random guys after a drink at a bar, for example. Like, from a guy's point of view, you can be like, hey, that is not fair. And I'll be like, no, I'm leaving this situation. Now, if the girl was a virgin and she hasn't had sex with anyone else, then I'd be like, okay, I really like you. This is the value you have. You haven't had sex before and you want to wait till marriage. Do you know what? I'd actually wait to have sex with you until we get married because that's you're all set and you haven't changed that for anyone, and I'd respect that. Now, of course, I'm not a virgin, so it'd be up to her to think, hey, you haven't waited like I've waited, so I'm not interested in that, and that'd be completely valid from her point of view. But I can see where he's coming from here, because I'm thinking if I was dating a girl, I would not be happy to wait if she's giving it up for someone else. He says, I feel guilty that I'm giving them the short end of the stick than my original partner. However, I still want to remain staunch on my new values. His new values, okay. I'm kind of confused if he's like recently become some like religious zealot or he's always been very religious. Of course, if he was very religious, yeah, he would have waited till marriage to sleep with his girlfriend. But when there's that chemistry and you've been with that person for so long, sometimes it's hard to control yourself. But he hasn't mentioned anywhere here about him being particularly religious. I wonder if this is more about him just being a bit goo goo gaga about his ex and he can't let go of his ex and he feels like, oh, if I don't have sex with anyone else, then maybe she'll come back and she'll be like, oh, wow, you're such an amazing guy for not sleeping with anyone else since we broke up. Let's get married. Do you know what I mean? I wonder if this is more him not letting go of his previous partner. Who knows? All right, let's finish up this post. He says, although I deeply regret being sexually intimate with my original partner, why do you deeply regret it? Like, come on. Like, you had a 3 year relationship. I'm sure it was a wonderful period of your life. Yes, it didn't work out well, but I'm sure you had many great memories. I'm sure you do care about her, and I'm sure you enjoyed the sex with her. It's not like you just slept with a girl on a one night stand. She wasn't your type, and you were both drunk. Like, no, like you've obviously vetted that woman for a long period of time, and a woman will view that as like, hey, I respect that. You obviously had sex with your partner. You were with them for 3 years. That makes sense. Stop making out like you deeply regret it. It's just a bit weird. This guy's coming across as weird. I'm starting to doubt he does have lots of women chasing him because the way he's talking just, yeah, doesn't sit right with me. So I regret being sexually intimate with my original partner, brackets, whom I foolishly thought I would end up marrying. This guy talks weird. He's like some Shakespearean joker. I hope this doesn't mean I should give up my values. Although I unfortunately won't be able to give my future wife my virginity, I can at least say she'll be sharing my sexual being with one other person as opposed to two, three, or however many. I don't think women really care about taking your sexual virginity. I think, and I don't know this for sure, but let's be honest, guys. I think a woman prefers a guy to be a bit more experienced, know how to handle women in the bedroom, and to have that confidence. Women do like to sometimes go for the bad boys, sometimes like to go for the guy who's being chased by multiple women. So, you know, I don't think she's going to really care if you are not a virgin, especially if you've given it up for a woman you are committed to over a long period of time of 3 years. That's actually going to be quite attractive to a woman who's thinking about dating you long term. I feel like you're putting more emphasis on your virginity than they are, which is understandable from a guy's point of view. Let's finish this up. He says, with the information I provide above, am I being a bad or manipulative partner? What's this guy chatting on about? Am I mistreating any future partners by enforcing a standard which I foolishly didn't enforce before? He likes the word foolishly, doesn't he? Well, he's being foolish himself. Um, Look, I think a lot of women will be like, hey, if you want to wait till marriage, fine. When you going to put a ring on it, especially if they really like you. Um, the, the way you're talking sounds like you're going to be getting married pretty soon. Like your viewpoint, I'm guessing, is probably the time frame of maybe 2 to 3 years. So a woman will wait that long. However, if a woman's crazy about you, she's going to want every part of you, and that includes sex. Honestly, this is the crazy thing. I always thought that men wanted sex more than women, but when you get into a relationship and the woman's crazy about you, she's going to want sex with you more than you want sex with her. If you're doing everything right, she's going to be crazy about you and she's going to want to be jumping on it every night. It's the truth. So if you do everything right, she's going to be craving you like crazy. Will she wait? Yeah, she'll wait if you're the right guy. But him going down this viewpoint of, oh, he's such a bad person, it's manipulative. It's not manipulative if you set out the standards early on. You say, look, I'm not going to have sex with you until marriage, and you stick by that, you stick by your word, they'll respect it. Um, yeah, I think this guy seems a bit like an oddball, and maybe he does have a line of beautiful women trying to get in his pants, but I highly doubt it. But yes, an interesting viewpoint. I think if you have had sex before and you tell your partner, your new partner, hey, we can't have sex until marriage. My viewpoint, if I was dating that person, I'd be like, hey, that's not fair. You've had sex with the previous person without a ring or anything. I'm not waiting. See you later. But hey, that's just me. That's all, guys. Cheers. See ya.